but we're also on tapes. We are deep down in the bowels of Lee's Music. Episode 98. And a first for this show. From Boston, from Beantown, on vacation, but still working. Christopher Foulds. There he is. He's still working. Unbelievable.
I actually wrote a story on the plane on the way here that will run when I get back. So there you go.
How many glasses of wine deep were you on that journey?
Nothing. I was completely sober. I was transcribing an interview I did with Glenn Farrell on the organics project. Real exciting stuff. But
I was wondering when I was going to run.
Well, it's a Q&A. It's a long Q&A, and I'm going to run it. I was going to run it right away, but I'm thinking we'll run it the week before it starts, so it gives people an idea of what to expect. Anyway, never stop working.
Michael Potestio also here, Magic Mike and Billa at the controls. We're going to talk, well, first of all, 98. Anything?
98, I'm just thinking, when Bill Clinton got impeached. That's the only thing I can think about. And then he was charged, but never convicted.
I had a few others. Google was founded. Viagra was approved, Mike. Okay. And Apple unveils the iMac. So actually, Mike Miltimore, Magic Mike, of all those things, which has impacted your life the most? Bill Clinton impeached, Google founded, Viagra approved, or Apple unveils the iMac?
I think they are all equal.
Okay.
You know what? Actually, probably Google has impacted me the most. And as you know, I am a Mac guy, so but I'd never used an iMac.
So it's weird to think about life before Google, how much it's changed. What about you, Michael? All of those things.
Obviously, Google. I don't think I can remember a time pre-Google. I'm a Google kid, unfortunately.
You're a Google kid.
I think I was 8. Yeah, I was 8 at that time. So.
Do you remember the Bill Clinton stuff happening?
No, just like news stories afterwards, or like look backs and everything like that.
Okay, we've got Joe Hicketts on the show today. Los Angeles Kings recently signed. He's a hockey player from Kamloops, a defenseman. We're going to talk music in the park with Mike Miltimore, but first, Christopher Foulds, some trivia. We're going to do some Boston trivia with you to test your knowledge right now, okay? You ready?
Yes.
Number one, first question. What National League baseball team, now located in the Southeast, was a Boston team until the 1950s?
In the Southeast?
Yeah.
Oh, the Atlanta Braves.
You got it. 1 for 1. Okay. Number two, what does the red brick or painted line on the ground running through Boston signify?
Oh, isn't it the Freedom Trail?
Unbelievable. He's 2 for 2. Okay, number three. What Red Sox great was known as the Splendid Splinter? You should get this one.
Ted Williams, greatest hitter of all time.
He's rolling right now, folks. Okay, number four. This talk show host, the greatest talk show host and Saturday Night Live cast member of all time, is a huge fan of the Boston Red Sox's sworn enemy.
Oh, this is that horrible. That's Jimmy Fallon, isn't it?
You love Jimmy Fallon. What is it about Jimmy Fallon that you can't stand?
Because he ruined every SNL skit he was in, and then when his talk show's on, I've only seen it a couple times, but you see all the clips. It's always about him. It's a look at me, love me. It's all about him, and it's never about the guests. And he is not as funny as he thinks he is.
Okay, absolutely ripped and destroyed.
Four for 4.
What about the Campbell skit? That was epic. That was amazing.
That was probably the only skit, and he did a good skit playing Barry Gibb. Those are the only 2 skits in which he didn't screw it up for everyone else.
His the hot tub, he was breaking in that one too, but I thought that one was pretty good. Okay, number 5. An annual ice hockey tournament between 4 Boston area colleges held in February at TD Garden is colloquially known by what culinary name?
Oh, isn't it the bean pot or the bean bowl?
It is the bean pot.
Wow.
It's the bean pot.
I think he has Google open on his end.
No, I don't. I swear on my late mom and dad's grave, I didn't even know you were asking me questions today.
No, you didn't. And this is the final one.
Impressive.
True or false? The BC Lions are in big trouble now that Vernon Adams has shown his true colors.
Well, I think it's a little bit true, a little bit false, and I'm still angry at Rick Campbell for not putting in Dane Evans. And sometimes Vernon Adams is the kind of quarterback where he manages the game effectively until he has a brain cramp, and it happens, if you look at his history, once every 4 or 5 games. So we should be good until week 10.
He kind of reverted to Vernon just throwing balls up and carelessly turnovers.
That was really bad. But the cool thing about that game is that Jim Kelly was in the stands.
Yep.
That was really neat to see. Yeah.
Okay, his son has a bit of attitude. Music in the park, Mike.
Started. It's amazing. We had a fantastic night last night. It's reflection time at the park right now because we've been doing it for 30 years. Henry Small and I, we're reminiscing about all the crazy nights we've had. And last night was a magical night. We had the Kamloops Big Band, now known as the... and it's gone. Brass. Yeah. Beyond Brass. They were playing last night, and it was like the perfect night.
Yeah.
It wasn't too hot, wasn't too cold. They played. There was probably 1,000 people out for the show, and the nice thing with music in the park, it's not music for one person, it's music for everyone. So it was jazz last night. The night before we had I did it. I don't even remember what we had the night before.
Well, you've got ZZ Top coming up.
Yeah, ZZ Top is coming up on Saturday, so that's going to be really great. Henry's really tried to amp up this year, bringing in a lot more acts. So we got a bunch of tribute bands. We're going to have a Shania Twain tribute band. Is actually playing tonight. This is being taped today, but that's going to be really great. You like Shania Twain. We were talking about that earlier on. That's your jam. You sing that in the shower,
Man,
right?
I feel like a woman in the shower.
Yeah.
That's his, isn't it?
It's one of many songs that I sing in the shower.
And it's just going to be really great. British Columbia Lottery Corporation has been sponsoring the event since day one, which really helps out the community and helps out artists. Henry Small, of course, started it with when he was at the Arts Council way back when, and the City of Kamloops, the leaders in the city are really supportive of it. And without all of these people coming on board, we wouldn't have what we have, because those early years, Kamloops Big Band used to play every Tuesday night because we didn't have a huge budget, so they would use it as their practice night, and that was part of what made it work. And back then, you wouldn't go into the park; it was scary, and there would be like maybe 50 people in the park.
Yeah.
So now to get 1,000 people out and just the screams and the claps, and you know what else is amazing? Last night, I could hear all this screaming and noise coming from somewhere, and it was just like grating. But then I realized it's all the kids having fun, so then I liked it.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. The water park, the new accessible playground, and the city did a beautiful job fixing up the berm along the river.
Yeah.
So boardwalks have really improved.
It's a place. It's really, really magical.
It's a staple of Kamloops, and thanks for you and Henry for putting all that work in over the years.
Yeah, thinking about that.
And Bill.
1,800 shows in 30 years. Over 1,800 shows.
That's
yeah,
crazy.
I've destroyed so many mixing boards because they only last so long, and so many different sound systems. This year we put in a brand new sound system down there, so it's there's always cool stuff going on.
From music in the park to pipe bombs, Michael, you told me this morning, first I heard about it, that there's been another pipe bomb found. Can you just give us the recap?
Yeah, so 2 days in a row here, cops have found or been alerted to a pair. Well, yesterday was confirmed to be a pipe bomb. It was found on Greystone Crescent up in Aberdeen, residential neighborhood. And just this morning, we have a story up on our website. They told us that last night around 9, they found another suspicious package. Could be nothing, but and it's on Sifton Avenue, which is about a kilometer away. So same Aberdeen neighborhood, another suspicious package. Basically, deja vu from one day to another.
And the first one, that was found on Monday night though, right?
Yes, it was found on Monday night around 7, and the bomb squad was here in town yesterday. We had our reporter Dave Eagles go, and he got a great photo of the robot that they used to basically pick up what was a suspected pipe bomb, and they put it into like a bomb-proof bag of sorts, and they took it to a remote location to neutralize it, which means they would basically destroy it. But they examined it first, and it was in fact a pipe bomb. They confirmed that it was a real bomb. But they handled it. Nobody had to be evacuated, but scary situation for anybody up there at the time.
Fouldsy, with your history at the paper, how often have we come across this type of thing, pipe bombs, and what do you make of the whole situation?
Very rarely. I know there was we were talking about earlier, a few years ago, there was a few explosive devices found in Dallas area, Dallas, Campbell Creek area. I think one had detonated, the rest were found. And that was in connection to a known organized crime group and in connection to raids, I believe, on a house in Dallas and one in West Side. But it had to do with, and they raided a house and they found a bunch of more stuff, explosives, drugs, and stuff like that. But they found a few of these sort of pipe bombs, homemade IEDs, they call them, off the road in Dallas. So this is very, very rare. I was thinking it's probably, well, who knows what it is, but it sounds like maybe some, I was thinking first thing, some kids or someone who's into like that kind of stuff, or some wannabe Ted Kaczynski is sort of homemaking these things and putting them out there for whatever reason. It's pretty scary if they can detonate.
Well, my first thought is hearing there's another one, like whoever did this was unsatisfied with the first one being found and did it again. I mean,
there might be more out there, right? Who knows?
Yeah.
Anytime you have something back to back like this, those are the huge pressing questions that nobody really has answers for, and it's a pretty scary situation.
So the cops haven't said anything else about this latest one yet?
No, suspicious package is all they've described it as. Asked Dave Eagles to swing by this one again today, see if we can get any kind of shots. The first one, it looked like it was near the street, maybe along the sidewalk is where it appeared to be. So it's not in one of the homes, but just kind of like left out in the open is what it appeared to be. This one here, don't know too much about it other than it's kind of close to where the first one was. And I guess we'll have to wait and see what comes of it. Hopefully it's just a false alarm.
Any thoughts on this one, Mike?
I think it is scary. Kids play with things, and maybe it's not a real thing, but how do they detonate them? I think as a kid growing up with a bunch of other guys around the neighborhood, we used to get little cups of gas and light them up, and that, which terrifies everybody around us. And I realized that was just experimenting, but hopefully that's all this is just some make fun stuff, and it doesn't go any further than where it's at.
Yeah, Mike was talking about his friends making makeshift pipes, not pipe bombs in high school. That'd be much better than pipe bombs.
Yeah.
Mayor's marathon report to council. Michael, June 27th, 18 minutes detailing his activities. What do you make of it?
Yeah, I think it just goes to, it's just another example of that dysfunction that we've seen on council from the beginning. It came at the same meeting as Fartgate, so that was just the beginning. There was much more to the pageantry of that meeting.
So that got buried. That got buried by Fartgate, that whole marathon report then?
Yeah, Fartgate came first, but I felt it was important to still write this.
Got blown away.
Got blown away by Fartgate. But I thought it was still important to write about the story. It was interesting. When I was sitting in the council meeting, I didn't really pick up on it at first, but I've covered enough city council to know, like, hey, this is going to, like, really long.
Because they're normally a few minutes, just recapping the last couple weeks, right?
That's all it usually is. And he obviously had a few, he after listing a whole bunch, he stopped and, said things like, are you guys bored yet? And like, that's another one of those, like I said before, eyebrow raising things to say. And so I spoke to the mayor afterwards about, like, hey, what was up with that? Me and another reporter kind of scrummed him afterwards about numerous things. And the marathon report was part of it. And he said it was to prove a point to his council. And I also heard from Councillor Kelly Hall that, he felt that this was something deliberate, basically used to kind of hit back at criticism that he received from them.
Yep.
And I guess Reid more or less, kind of confirmed that this was kind of a deliberate kind of show. But in his point of view, it was done to show that, he's doing more than he may let on. But Chris, obviously, when you do it in that fashion, it just comes across as kind of petty and mean.
Yeah. What do you make of this filibuster, Chris?
Oh, I think just what Michael said there. It's indicative of the dysfunction on council and how, no matter how much we think it's gonna resolve itself and they're gonna start playing nice, this happens. And he's pissed off at them for rebuking him and saying, where have you been and why don't you bring the minutes? And then so instead of just doing that, he did this thing, which is kind of funny, and everybody's complaining about, from the media to the public to council themselves. They're always complaining about many things, but primarily how long these council meetings are.
Yeah.
And the fault of that is on all 9 at council. Maybe not on Margot Middleton. I think she's the only one who, to my knowledge, who hasn't gone on and on and on for no reason. But yeah, the mayor owns this one. He how long was it? 18 minutes?
Yeah, I clocked it out about 18.
I guess he made.
so-
I guess he made his point. I mean, he made his point. Like, I've been to all these things, but
it's so petty, right?
the councillors would probably argue, well, just do it on a regular basis, and then we don't have to have an 18-minute marathon.
Yeah, exactly. It's you see the comments on social media where people are just, they're not even commenting anymore. They're putting those emojis where people just have their hands over their faces because it's so, what more can you say? There's nothing you can say. This is a never-ending saga that is at both times interesting and frustrating. So,
And people will tell me, like, ask me, like, when's it gonna get better? When's it gonna break? And I think to myself, like, I don't think that happens. I think this is a 4-year war of attrition, and this is just what you're gonna get out of your civic government for the next few years.
I don't know. What do you think it's gonna get better, Mike?
There is a war going on there for sure. But here's the positive thing. I do a lot of events. I'm around town. Mayor Hamer-Jackson always comes up to me and says, "Hey, how's it going?" That kind of a thing. I see him at all these places, and I see a bunch of other councillors. The thing is, they're fighting over who goes to see more things. They're engaged. And that's not a bad thing, I don't think. It's a little petty when they do an 18-minute recounting of what's going on. But when I see them out there, they're actually out in the community and they're accessible. It'd be nice if it got a little bit less cringy, but they're also in the news. There you go.
And some of his comments too, they play well with his base, and they're entertaining. Like, I'm not a stage guy. I'm not on social media. It's like, hey, that's a nice coffee.
Yeah, and I bow to no sponsors.
Okay, one more newsy topic here. Michael and Chris, if you guys want to comment on this one, CUPE Local 900 doesn't think the city had the right to unilaterally make the decision to restructure its bylaws department. They went to arbitration. Decision expected the middle of this month. What could the fallout be from this? We'll start with you, Chris.
Well, if the arbitration decision comes back and deems that they did this, it wasn't done properly, and they have to go back to the old bylaws model. And people have been saying, some people running for council in the last election, and the mayor himself have said this could cost the city lots and lots of money. I'm not sure if it's been delineated as to how this will cost. Maybe the people who had to leave get their jobs back. Maybe they rescind some of the new hires and bring back some of the people who lost their jobs, because this new method of, they call them CSOs, community service officers. We still call them bylaws officers because that's the general parlance people understand.
Yeah.
It's sort of like it's this trend of government making up words so everything's confusing and nothing means anything anymore. They're bylaws officers with a different approach. So instead of writing tickets and finding lost dogs primarily, they're dealing with more social issues. Anyway, part of that whole restructure is they had to pass this fitness test. And many of them couldn't do it. Me and Jessica Wallace did the fitness test. I came in 2 seconds over. I was hungover and I had the flu, but
excuses.
Hey, I was faster than a city councilor and I was faster than the fire chief. So it's not super hard. It's not easy. Jessica hit it right on the nose. 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Anyway, the point is, a lot of the bylaws officers couldn't pass this fitness test, and the word was this was just a way to get rid of some of the old guard and bring in some new people. If the arbitration goes against the city, we'll see what the fallout is, whether it's financial and how much it's going to be. And we won't know until that comes through. It's taken quite a long time, though, for sure.
Insight on this one, Mike?
Yeah, it is taking a long time. It's been 7 months since arbitration wrapped, and they've been waiting for a decision. I talked to CAO David Trowin about it. He let me know that they were expecting the findings to come out later this month. But he said that 7 months, technically, it seems like a long time, but it's not unusual, especially with the COVID backlog when it comes to that department with these rulings here. As far as the union side of things go, I think the interesting thing, their main point, and I've talked to people in the union about this, their main point is that they don't believe that the department fundamentally changed. Like the whole new focus of community service, they say, and they even cite our own articles that Dale Bass did back in the day, that they've done everything that the current department does. They don't think that, basically just think that this was, like Chris said, a way to kind of get rid of a mass amount of people, and they didn't have a right to do it because the job didn't actually change in any sort of fundamental way. And so it'll be really interesting to see exactly what the findings of the arbitration are. You kind of wonder, how convoluted those findings might be the longer that people have to wait for it to come out. It's not necessarily going to break all the way for the city or break all the way for the union. What might the arbitrator come up with in between in terms of what has to go back and what doesn't?
Okay. Well, you'll follow that one, I think. Fouldsy will assign you to keep covering that one. Let's move on here because Canada Day just happened the weekend, and we were busy. Myself, Fouldsy, Mike, and you, Mike.
Yeah, it was a real early one because I had to set up for Canada Day, but we got up at the crack of doom. It was, 5 o'clock in the morning that we got up?
I think we headed out houseboating on the Little Shoe.
On the Little Shoe, yeah, at 5 o'clock in the morning,
And
which is a beautiful place to be. Although a little bit colder the Little Shuswap Lake is. I think it's because of all the runoff from Adams Lake. But
we warmed up with McDonald's coffees. That's exactly what we did. But on the way out, this Michael here was just whining and complaining about having to pay for gas. He's so cheap because he's worried, he's cheap at the best of times, but he's worried about the Bank of Canada interest rates going up. He's just always whining about that. But I said, don't worry. Volkswagen, the lease rates are going down. 3.9%, 3.99% for the Tiguan, the Atlas, and the Crossport.
Yeah, and I think I was just, kind of cranky that morning because I was up so early. I was missing my
snuggle time with your mom?
No, my Sealy mattress.
Oh, Sealy mattress, yes, certain.
I think it's because you were grumpy because you fell down singing Shania Twain in the shower. But that's exactly right. You forgot you didn't have your Gord's mattress the night before, and the Sealys are on special right now at Gord's. Yeah. Fantastic deals at Gord's. You got to go check that out. Let's move on now. Thank you, Chris. Any final thoughts from Boston?
No, just hope stay safe with the pipe bomb guy out there. CM Punk is doing his stuff in Kamloops, and that's it. No, I'll let you guys go, and I'll see you guys in about a week and a half.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right, bye, Chris.
Let's move on now.
I'm glad he's gone now. It's just like that guy drives me so crazy.
So annoying.
He knows everything.
Oh, look at me and my trivia answers.
Crap.
Okay.
Yes,
All right, let's move on to the Tattle of Hastings with Joe Hicketts. It's brought to you by McDonald's.
Hi, welcome to McDonald's. What can I get for you?
Oh, good morning. How you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Oh, I'm fantastic. I'd like to make an announcement, please. I love going to the lake. I love the big shoe, and I love the little shoe too. A little bit of shoe-topia. My question is this. What do you think is the best summer drink from McDonald's to bring to the lake?
Peach mangoes.
Oh,
Splash.
What's your favorite part about that drink?
It's a splash, cold drink.
Oh, it's a splash and it's a cold drink. Yeah. Sounds good to me.
Anything else?
Just want to say have a great day today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Shootopia.
Joey Hicketts, defenseman from Kamloops, just signed with the LA Kings. You're a Calder Cup champion. You're a World Juniors gold medalist. Hell of a WHL career. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Exciting. First time on the show.
Yes. First time, long time watcher, I'm sure. Probably never seen the show, actually, have you?
I've heard of it.
Okay.
I've heard of it.
Let's start with the signing. What's it like to be a free agent? And is it stressful? Is it exciting? What's it like?
Well, this was my second go. I think it was stressful, this one, I'm not going to lie. With it being so close to the draft, and I think with the salary cap not moving, I think as much as teams thought, there was a lot of uncertainty in the air.
Yeah.
And then, on top of that, you had all the guys who were restricted who weren't qualified. So there's 113 guys who, otherwise would have been signed by their old NHL teams that weren't qualified for salary cap reasons, whether they didn't want them, whether they thought they were going to cost too much, to go to arbitration, but they ended up signing. It kind of flooded the market, so I didn't hear a lot for a while. And
really, I would have thought you would have been you must have had options though.
I think so, but like I said, it happened so fast. Like, I think there's talk lead up. Like, I mean, you're not supposed to talk to teams, but I think they ask agents what's he thinking. Obviously, nothing really comes to fruition then, but my agent kind of gave, these teams might be interested, but we'll see. Then you had the draft, so it was all draft talk. You had the combine, so that kind of slowed things down. And then once free agency opened, it was still, I hadn't heard anything. And, when he phones with an offer, it's like, okay, I haven't heard anything for a couple hours, but kind of down to business. So it was nice to get it done, and I'm happy to be in LA. I think it'll be a good fit. Obviously back on the West Coast, so I'm really excited for that.
You had career highs last year: assists, points, penalty minutes, power play goals, shots on goal. How did that help you during this period? I mean, that must have offered you some kind of calmness.
Yeah, I think going into the free agency, I knew that I played well enough to get another contract. I wasn't worried about my job. Although when you don't hear anything for 3 hours after free agency opens, you start worrying. But that was settling. I think from what you hear with Vegas winning and this, the size of their defensemen, and the NHL being such a copycat league in that sense.
Right.
Obviously, me being a smaller guy, maybe I'm not going to say scared teams away, but a little hesitant. I think if you look at the free agent signings in the first week or the first day, a lot of it were the bigger kind of hard-nosed type of defensemen that got the term and the value, whereas the smaller puck-moving guys, they're all on 1-year deals, 2-year deals.
Well, LA, I was going to ask you about that. They've shown they don't mind smaller D. Sean Dursey was a guy they just had, and they shipped him out. So was that part of your thought process too? Like, this is a good place for me to be going?
I think so. I kind of let my agent deal with that. Finding what could be good fits during the season. I kind of just focus on what we're doing. Obviously, you get the stat packs every game, and you see the leading scorers throughout the league and defense, forwards, all that kind of stuff. So you know of them, but in the American League, it's a funny thing where we don't play every team in our conference, let alone the league. So we never played I haven't played Ontario. I think I've played them once in my 7-year career. Yeah. So you don't get to see those guys a lot. You don't get to see what they're about. But even going back to when they were winning cups, I don't think Doughty's big per se, but he's a heck of a defenseman, and I think he's proven that he can play at that level. So obviously, like I said, I'm excited to go there, be back on the Pacific time zone, and be a little closer to home, but it should be a good fit.
Are you single? Personal question, but because this factors into guys' decisions, right? If they have a girlfriend or a wife or kids or whatever, what's your situation there?
I'm single, so it makes it a little bit easier, I think. Having to move families. I know guys that old teammates that live in the Midwest, but even moving out to New York can be a hassle when you have a wife and then you get kids, dogs, and all that stuff. It plays a big factor. So I don't want to say I'm lucky that I'm single, but it definitely makes moving a little bit easier.
Of all the things you look at when you're deciding where to go, well, you said you didn't have a ton of offers coming your way, but is it the lifestyle? Is it the depth chart that you see? Is it the money? And how important is the money too?
I think, in my position, I think opportunity's got to be up there. Yeah. Lifestyle, I feel like I could play anywhere. I don't mind the snow. I don't mind the cold. Obviously, living on the beach is an added bonus, but no, I think when it comes down to it, when you look, it's what team gives me the best shot to play NHL games or an NHL season. And I really rely on, you know, my agent and his staff to kind of sort that through. And then, you know, I mean, you're not playing for free, so I think money does come into it, but not as much as, you know, I think some people would think. I think it's more opportunity.
Cap Friendly tells me that your salary in the minor is $275,000. That would be US, right?
Yeah, that's American. Yeah.
That's your best that's your best ticket yet so far, right?
Last year was 300. So I have a $300,000 guarantee this year. So basically making the same as I did the last 2 years.
Well, that's a nice chunk of change. You talked about it. 22 NHL games in your career, all with Detroit. You're looking at the depth chart because you want to play in the NHL. You haven't been there since 1920, I think was your last.
Yeah, I think it was the year COVID got shut, or NHL got shut down due to COVID.
How tough is it to push into the big show?
It's extremely tough. I mean, it's the best league in the world for a reason, and you know, when you're coming up and you're going up and down, I don't want to say you get the benefit of the doubt because, you know, I think they realized, you know, the position you're in, you're going up, down. You know, at one point I think it was in 9 different cities in the course of a week with call-ups and being reassigned down to the minors in Grand Rapids. But you just gotta find a way to play your game. You gotta find a way to contribute, but also not be, you know, a liability on defense, you know, as a defenseman. So it does take a while. I think I've learned so much throughout my 7-year pro career that will help me going forward. You know, I've always said, even to young guys on you know, teams that I've played on in the past, you think you're ready, but until you play a little bit longer, I don't think anyone's truly ready. You know, I was going up and down my 2nd and 3rd years. And yeah, it's fun and maybe a little bit too over-ambitious about things and you try and do a little bit too much. And I think that's where, in my case, you know, hopefully I do get that chance to prove I can play and stick. But, you know, I've always thought the next time I know what I need to do to play more.
Well, what do you think has held you back? Is it just that, you know, you got in there and you maybe were trying to do too much? Is it because there's this, especially now with bigger D-men, or what do you think is kind of held you back from finding that regular spot?
I think, you know, when I went up, you know, one of my first times in Detroit, it was, you know, to run the power play. Well, I wasn't even playing the power play in Grand Rapids, so I was kind of shocked that I was going into a position like that. I was grateful, like I had to play with great players when I was up there, and you know, they made my job a little easier. It was just, so I think maybe wasn't ready in that sense mentally, but obviously size. I don't want to say, you know, it's a determining factor, but it is what it is, and there's nothing I can do about that. And you know, I've been able to play, you know, for quite a long time in a sport where I think the average professional career is only 4 or 5 years. Yeah. So I've been really fortunate, you know, that way, and forever grateful.
Well, a lot of your friends, we were talking before we started the show, they're in Europe and they're kind of halfway through seasons bouncing around. Like you've had a really good career. I mean, people don't understand that. I think, he's in the AHL, he's probably unhappy, but it's a fun life. Like you're living your dream still, right?
Yeah. I always say, people ask, I'm like, I'm getting paid to play hockey.
Yeah.
And you know, there's countless numbers of kids who grow up, you know, dreaming of playing hockey. Yeah, you dream of playing in the NHL, but there's so many different avenues, you know, to get there and to earn a living. Yeah, you're not going to be able to play till you're 50 or normal age. So you do have to kind of be wary of that and you know, make your money while you can and take care of it. But
you good with your money?
I think so. Yeah. I think so. But
no big purchases with this last ticket.
No. But it's just one of those things where, yeah, like everyone I grew up, like there might be 3 guys playing pro, which is probably an anomaly from our bantam team.
Yeah.
I know a lot of them. There's some coaching, and then other guys have got jobs now, and they're going to school and getting their life going. So, like I said, I've been really fortunate to be able to play and contribute at a high level.
Let's talk about bantam. Let's talk about the bantam draft. Okay, we're going way back here now. The Blazers passed over you. Your hometown team, you ended up with Victoria, and you had an amazing career. But what was the Hicketts family's? What were you guys thinking at that time? Take me back, honestly. How were you guys feeling about that when they passed over you?
I think the Blazers were one of the few teams that, didn't talk to me, which I didn't know any better. I'm like, oh, well, maybe they've, I'm from Kamloops, maybe they've seen enough or something. But, when they passed me over, I think my mom was devastated because she probably wanted me to stay home. But it actually allowed me to grow up, and Victoria was awesome. It was close enough to home where, my parents could see me play in the BC division. We played Kamloops, Kelowna, Vancouver 10 times each or something. So I was close enough that way that I could still see them, but far enough away where I could learn to grow up and living in a billet house. And I think that actually helped me grow up more than it would have living at home.
Did you ever figure out why they didn't talk to you and get any insight on that?
No, and I was happy. I mean, obviously would I love to play here? Yes, but what happened in Victoria, the friendships I made, how they treated me, the organization, top to bottom, is something that I wouldn't change the world for.
Was there some extra motivation when you came to play the Blazers because of that?
I don't know if it was motivation, but whenever you have all your family and friends here, you wanna perform. So I don't think it was ever you guys passed me over. It was more, I'm coming back home. I want to put a good showing on for everyone who supported me growing up.
Speaking of family, your brother, he's a referee in the dub. I think was your dad an official?
Yeah, my dad was a linesman in the Western League, yeah.
Have you ever been in the crowd when there's somebody just ripping into your family member for a bad call or something?
Well, the good thing with my season is I don't get to watch my brother, but...
Yeah. I mean, even when you were younger, was there ever a time where you were like, oh my goodness, my dad's getting ripped here or anything like that?
Not that I remember. I think I was probably too young to kind of remember that. I remember, because he did like the BCHL and that stuff, so I remember like kind of going around to different rinks with him when I was 4, 5, 6, but nothing ever where I remember him, people yelling at him. Now I'm probably on the other end yelling at refs now and stuff on the ice, but no, it's great. My brother got an opportunity and he loves doing it, so good for him.
Did you ever officiate?
No, I never did. I was always busy with hockey, so.
Okay, summer plans. How long are you here for? You going to the shoe swap, or are you just training? What are you up to?
Training, playing a little bit of golf, and just trying to keep busy. No real big plans. Got a wedding or two this summer, but just trying to stay busy, enjoy the summer, enjoy the weather. I love going back home.
How's the golf game?
The golf game's coming along. I'm really happy with where it's at right now.
What are you shooting around?
High 70s, kind of 77, 79, the odd 80 or 82 in there, but it's been good.
Okay, well, thanks for coming by. I know you moved some training times around to be here, so thanks a lot. We appreciate the time.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm going to show you this magnificent new KitchenAid, brand new, 19.4 cubic foot, 36-inch wide, counter depth.
Okay,
a lot of people like the counter depth because it tucks in really nicely. They brought out this new look with the faux wood paneling. You can tuck everything on there and just throw her back in.
And it looks like down below there's also
freezer.
The freezer.
Same thing. Ice on this side. Then you've got your bins that you just pull out and fill in. It's a little smaller in the freezer, but if you already have a freezer in your garage, it's beautiful. Nice sturdy bins on the side. They call it platinum interior. And
why do they call it that?
Because of the gray color.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay, and it looks like the price in there says $3,899, but
right now on sale $29.99.
That is a heck of a deal at Gord's Appliance and Mattress Center. Anything else you wanted to add about this lovely fridge?
Not much about the fridge, but I would like to add that we have buy more, save more on KitchenAid right now. So if you buy 3 or more appliances, you save $300. 2 or more is $200, and 4 or more is $400.
Well done. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
Mike Miltimore joins us.
Hey, look at this. I'm on this side of the screen this time.
What's our national sport?
Lacrosse.
Yes. And you must have played growing up.
I love netty stick is what we used to call it back in the day, and it's so much fun.
You've been to Memorial Arena though.
I have been, yeah.
So they call that the snake pit sometimes.
No, I didn't.
Called the snake pit because it's the home of the Kamloops Venom. and their playoffs are starting this Saturday.
It's a fast-paced game.
It's one of the toughest, roughest games there is. Like, I think it's pound for pound, you could argue, one of the most physical, because everybody on that floor is getting the you-know-what kicked out of them. The cross-checks, the slashes.
Yeah,
It's a
and
tough
the speed
sport.
of the balls, too.
Oh, the speed of the ball.
is insane.
The goalies are nuts. Venom had a perfect season this year so far. Regular season 14-0.
Wow.
Playing in that snake pit, sweltering heat, good vibes. Crowds haven't been that great, so they're asking people to come out. This Saturday, they open their playoff schedule. They're playing the Kelowna Kodiaks.
Good old Kamloops versus Kelowna. And the Memorial Arena is nice because the sight lines are good, and I bet you watching the game, you can't help but get into it.
Oh.
Because there's always something going on, not like boring soccer.
Well, some people are going to be mad about that comment, but that barn, when it's packed, it's probably the best vibe, one of the best vibes in Kamloops. Like, packed, it's hot. It's an advantage for Kamloops teams in that barn. I don't think they're going to need much of a home crowd advantage because Kelowna's 0-12-2 on the season. Kamloops is 14-0. It's a semi-final. The goal for the Venom this year, they want to win the whole provincial championship. So they got to get through the TOJLL, then they go play the best team from the Tier 1 league on the coast. Provincials are going to be down on the coast. They're not sure of the format yet. They got to get past 2 teams in the semi-final and the final, then they go down to the coast. I went to the barn last night to talk to some of the players. They're a little bit worried because they've rolled through all the competition, that they might not be primed and ready to go down and face the tough teams on the coast. What do you think about that?
Well, maybe they should try play left-handed.
There you go.
That'll add a little more difficulty so they can get used to that here. And then when they go there, they can be ready to rock.
Doug Clark, if you're listening, get the boys playing left-handed. Let's check this video right now. 14-0. What makes this team tick?
You know, I believe we got a lot of chemistry, kind of like what Caleb said. Most of us grew up playing this sport together and kind of just know it. I mean, I got to shout out to our good coaches and stuff too. They always get us hyped up and teach us the right things. So overall, I believe the mix of those two things helps us succeed. So,
are you ready to play these big teams on the coast?
That's a good question. Because I mean, I don't want to bash the competition around here, but it's not the same level as it is on the coast. Because like there's just bigger population, more kids play, so a lot more tryouts and everything. But I believe that we can get there. We just got to start locking in and dialing it in practice and just all the boys getting locked in. And I think we have the ability to push through. It just sometimes we need a few games to kind of get used to that speed of play, which is something we're not quite used to, but I'm sure we can do it.
I've been in the snake pit on a hot summer night when it's packed and it's loud in here. How nice would it be for you guys to get a crowd like that out for your opening playoff game?
I mean, you said it best. It does get quite hot in here, but you know, having the stands packed would just, I think, give us that extra little bit of motivation to kind of get the dub and just keep going, keep that train rolling. As I'd say, you know, it'd definitely be nice to have a little more people coming out. Helps with the vibe, gets us going. You know, we're like, oh, these people came to see us. You know, let's put on a show for them. So.
What makes this group special is most of us have played together for many years and have like built-in chemistry already before the season starts and stuff. So,
what's it like to play in front of the snake pit when it's full?
Noisy, energetic, home.
But it hasn't been full too many times this season. I don't think.
No, we haven't had full like what it used to be in the past. So, hoping to get back to that for playoff time.
Yeah, why do you think that is?
COVID, I think, really took a bite out of all the old people that were here, and really took a bite out of like the younger people as well not coming.
What's it been like being head and shoulders above the competition?
I don't know. It's good, but then it's also bad because the competition's down on the coast is pretty hard. So we got to keep our intensity up in practice and trying to just keep working on the little things to keep us going.
Talk to me about the snake pit. What's the snake pit like when it's jam-packed full of fans?
It's pretty fun, yeah. We haven't had that many this year because I don't know, a lot of other stuff's going on, but yeah, it gets pretty bumping when it's a lot of people in here.
Yeah, your GM Brad was saying to me, crowds may be a little bit scarce, and he'd like to see some butts in the snake pit. So you got a message to people at Kamloops to come out and watch you guys.
Yeah, we're a good team. It's fun to watch. There's going to be a lot of goals if you come and watch us. Yeah.
What's the ultimate goal this season?
Well, we'd love to win the provincials and get to the Founders Cup, which we have to win the provincials to do that. So we have to win our league first, then we'll go down and play the winner of the Coast League and see how that goes.
You've seen that the bride, what's it called? As You Wish. You know what show I'm talking about? Princess Bride, yes. Where he's like sword fighting and he goes, but I'm left-handed.
I don't remember that part.
And you know what? Soccer's not boring. I actually am really excited about going and seeing some of the soccer games at the university because it sounds like that video we played a couple weeks ago looked like it would be just epic.
It was epic. And by the way, so you know how we had Ainsley on talking about how they hadn't won yet? Well, guess what happened? Okay. She scored the game-winning goal.
Knowing her personality in here, I can only imagine. Does she do like a double backflip?
Well, the pictures we got, and I'll flash one up right now from our guy, Ali D. One of the best photos he's ever taken. It was a header. It was set up by, I believe her name is Megan's son. 84th minute. They're tied at 1. Here comes the Kamloopsian who said, we're going to put on a show. Poof. Header. Game-winning goal. The men lost, unfortunately. They're at home this Saturday, both the men and women, MacArthur Island. Let's wrap the show. Thoughts? Thank you to you today for setting. We had 3 people on here with Fouldsy from Boston.
It was a fun show, yeah. We did Zoom in with Chris and Mike Potestio. He did really well for a North Shore Italian, I thought. Just some really interesting stuff going on.
Anything else? We got our charity pickleball challenge actually coming up. I have started the ball rolling on that. It's going to be Wednesday, August 2nd at TRU. We're going to get some gifts from our sponsors that we're going to give away at that. So that's going to be the draw. Yeah. People come down, you're going to have a chance to win. You're going to watch this pickleball match between myself and Fouldsy against the Volkswagen crew. So Tara, one of her husbands, many husbands, and her friend Franca. And you're going to be bringing some
I'll be
gear.
there playing some tunes and with some camera gear. And that's going to be a fun one, too. You know, speaking of wrapping up the show with Mike, he was talking that I think he grew up with music in the park. You know, being like 5 years old, 4 years old, going down there. And last night we were sitting there watching. There was a dance club dancing to the music. There was little kids dancing, and all I could think about was those little kids that danced in the 90s.
Yeah,
they're 30, 35 years old now.
Yeah.
You know, what a cool thing to grow up with.
Does that make you feel a little bit old too?
Makes me feel really old. Yeah. It's crazy. It's been 30 years.
A hot night at Riverside Park, a clear night. That's Kamloops. The best of Kamloops.
I heard a rumor that Henry might actually grace the stage on Friday in a last-minute cancellation. So that might be really good.
And it's ZZ Top's covers band Saturday?
Saturday, yeah.
Okay.
BC Top.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. The last week clique out there, we can't do the show without you watching. We're well over 400 subscribers now, hundreds of thousands of views across all platforms. We've got Volkswagen backing us. We've got Gores Appliance and Mattress Center backing us. We've got McDonald's, Steve Rogers, Brandy Seacon, Terry Lowe. Thanks for your help. For everybody that was here, Christopher Foulds from Boston, Magic Mike, the North Shore Italian Michael Potestio, for Bill. I'm Marty. We'll see you last week.